What's up, everybody? Another beautiful day in the neighborhood. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, Mr. Rogers was kind of creepy, but a really nice guy. So, I just saw Tarzan the other weekend. It came out, I think last weekend. I was in Laurel, Mississippi, visiting my father. So, he, my girlfriend, myself, and an old family friend all went out and saw it. Things I will say that I love about the movie. It did really well on making him look like a legend. The movie is called The Legend of Tarzan in general. I loved that this doesn't take place right off the bat. It kind of gives you an overall synopsis of the basic story of Tarzan, which everybody knows. Family dies when he's an infant, and they get shipwrecked in Africa, and a gorilla mother picks him up, and dad hates him, kind of thing, or the gorilla alpha male hates him, kind of thing, or kind of deal. Yeah, they touch base on that a little bit, but not too much, kind of thing. And how he meets Jane, and how he meets Jane is kind of like really quick, kind of thing. Like, he's older and he's done a few things and lived among the gorillas and lived in the wild for the longest time, and then he meets Jane and he's just like, oh, you're awesome, you smell nice, kind of thing. And he saves her life, and he kind of deserts his pack. So they get married and all that kind of stuff. The story takes place about 10 years after they leave Africa. They say, like, I think they say 8 years. And they're both not very happy in England, kind of thing. So you're like, when you see England, it's very dreary, very gray, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, they're rich, they're nice, all that kind of stuff, but it's meh. You know, and then they get to Africa and it just seems like they're more vibrant and they're happy where they are, kind of deal. And story kicks right off with the reason why Tarzan gets pulled back to Africa is because somebody wants him dead. Tarzan, he was out with his mom at one point, or mother gorilla, and it winds up being that there's a bunch of kids that their rite of passage is hunting a gorilla. So they have to take down a gorilla and prove they're a man now. So Tarzan basically got revenge on the guy that killed his mom. And that guy, it was his only, or the father, it was his only son. So he's kind of pissed about it. So he makes a deal with said white guy from England that's very creepy. I can't remember the actor's name. He does really good bad guys. I think he was in the Green Hornet as the bad guy as well. But he drags him back there, kind of thing. And Samuel L. Jackson gets sucked into the whole thing because he's a black guy that fought in the Civil War that's against slavery, and he's going to other countries to stop slavery, kind of thing. So winds up being Samuel L. Jackson's like, I need a ride there, or I need a ticket in, kind of thing. I need to see how this bankrupt king is providing troops and money for all this stuff he's building. And I think it's slave labor. Everybody thinks it's slave labor, but we can't prove it yet. So, of course, Tarzan's like, oh, fuck no slavery. Which anybody should be, in general. Slavery is not really a great thing. So, the story kicks off. Jane gets kidnapped. Tarzan's supposed to be brought to that chief that who he murdered his son, kind of thing, and it winds up being this whole Tarzan coming back to Africa and putting his roots back down in. And they did a really, really good job on him. Alexander Skarsgård pulled it off pretty well, although he's got a thick Norwegian accent, which I'm not really a fan of. Or might be Swedish, I cannot remember where he's from. But to me, he's always had that, like, you're not from around here kind of sound. Like, even when he speaks English, it's different. Like, you can tell he's got an accent. And, the guy's 6'4", and they did a really good job of making him look absolutely gigantic and monstrous. I mean, when you see him, he towers above everybody. And he's actually a really insanely smart person. You know, Tarzan, everybody always thinks Tarzan is like this insanely unintelligent, stupid person that, you know, just got along with monkeys and all sorts of stuff. But in all actuality, he's not. He's really good at mimicking things. He's smart when it comes to how things play out. He reads people pretty well. He's basically understanding of the universe in general. They did a really good job on not making him swing everywhere, and his mode of transportation was pretty funny. I mean, most of the time it's the Lamborghinis, but the Shoe Leather Express isn't that fast. And he just is this myth and this legend that, like, when you see the movie, it's kind of like somebody's telling you about it, kind of thing. It was filmed a lot like, almost like Cap, the first Captain America, where if somebody had sat down and told you what he does, that's a lot like how it would be, kind of thing. I loved it a lot. I mean, as far as an action flick, it's really cool. You never actually hear him or see him do the yell, but you hear the yell every once in a while. And of course, the wife being the damsel in distress, which calls herself out on it. The bad guy at one point's like, I need you to scream, and she's like, what, like a damsel? You're not gonna get it. And he's just like, no matter, he'll come for you, kind of thing. And you hear the yell every once in a while, and the yell's like, you hear it off in the distance, and of course the bad guy's like, what the fuck was that? And I wish Jane in the movie said, that's my husband. He's gonna come kill you. I wish she had kind of freaked out the bad guy a little more. But overall, I mean, their banter back and forth was actually really good. And the bad guy, he's interesting and weird, or weird enough, I guess. And it just, I don't know, like, you see the guy and you're like, there's something different about you, kind of thing. And there is. He's very intelligent, and he's very respectful for the most part, which is weird. It's kind of like a business thing. You know, he doesn't want to do something bad. He just, it's business. That's what he has to do. So, the action was good. The overall plot, good. Character development, good. You really felt for Tarzan. You can see how detached from the world he's in is. Whenever you see him, if you look at his hands, they're like, it's almost like he's formed like a gorilla, period. Like, he has like that closed monkey paw kind of look. Even when he's standing around and all that kind of stuff. At first they kind of like pointed out, but the rest of the movie he's doing the same thing. Yeah, the character development was good. You kind of grow with everybody. Samuel L. Jackson, of course, does really well, especially the one-liners and the banter, and everything was just spot on. I could not ask for a better movie. Cinematography-wise, they did a very good job. You really felt like places were different between all of the areas. I don't know if it was actually filmed in Africa. I think a little bit of it was, but I mean the primary parts of it. Sorry, a little yawny. I think it was for the most part, but once again, CG is done very well. A lot of green screen, of course. There was a little bit of Samuel L. Jackson's character fumbling through what they were doing, kind of thing, which I kind of didn't like, because at one point, like, everybody goes after Jane, and Tarzan's like, you damn it. Tarzan's like, I'm going this direction. They're like, that'll take 3 days, and they're like, or Tarzan's like, yeah, but they're going upriver, so it'll take just as long. We'll head them off. And Samuel Jackson's like, well, I'm going with, you'll need backup. And he's just like, I got these guys. Samuel Jackson's like, I came down here to help you, and I'm not leaving. You know, if it wasn't for me, you'd be sitting in a ditch somewhere, dead. And Tarzan's like, true, you're not going to be able to keep up. Samuel Jackson's like, oh, I got this. So of course you see him doing the huffing and puffing, and I'm not used to running, and then everybody goes to hop a train, and Samuel L. Jackson's like, well, how do we get down from this mountaintop? And Tarzan's like, well, gravity, kind of thing, like, train's down there, you just let gravity take, you know, gravity do its thing. So everybody jumps off into a tree, and Samuel L. Jackson like, oh shit, I don't know what to do, kind of thing, and he just kind of wings it. You figure at some point Tarzan would say, we're gonna jump, look for a branch, head towards it, kind of thing. You know, like, it would be nice if he landed here or here. Kind of like helped out his friend instead of saying, oh, this is probably where you could die. But then again, I don't know. I don't know if it was more like him trying to shake him and saying, like, I wonder how much he's worth, kind of deal. Or was it like, you're on your own, man, kind of thing? Like, was it a, I'm Tarzan, I don't work with people for the most part, like, I don't trust you? Or was it like more of a trust, like, was Tarzan learning about Samuel L. Jackson, or was it just, he didn't give a shit about him at that point? And as always, I'm late to work. Took a vitamin. I think it's stuck in my throat still. But yeah, I liked it overall. I would definitely give this an 8 out of 10. For what it was, I'd give it a 9.5 out of 10. It was really good. I liked a lot of it. Like I said, there was like 1 or 2 points that were like, meh. But at the same time, they pulled it off very, very well. And thank you for doing Tarzan some justice, because eventually that guy winds up being the mayor of New York, and I think a French spy, and yeah, he's an amazing story if you go back and read some of the books. But, oh, not too bad. Anyway, yeah, so if that sways your opinion at all, gives you a little insight, that's awesome. I haven't told you any of the really, really good juicy bits. That's just the overall synopsis and arc. But yeah, I would say go see it. It's well worth the money. Enjoy, you guys.